And the flow wants to move through you. It wants to move through your pelvis. It wants to move through your center of passion, which is in your pelvis. It wants you to birth things from that place. You are listening to Turn Your Soul On Radio. I am your host and visionary doctor, Dr. Brandy Victory, and my mission is to assist high-achieving women in closing the gap between feeling unfulfilled to living a life on fire. It is time, ladies, to champion our own lives and turn ourselves on. This is Living Victoriously, ladies. This is how you turn your soul on. Hey, beauties. I am so excited to be here. Thank you for joining me today. I have a question for you. I am in the process of putting together some awesome women to interview on this podcast. So I've already got some people lined up. I've got one lady who does Art of Feminine Presence, which is a really beautiful practice. I've got a business coach that's going to be coming on. I've got a chiropractor who specializes in babies and mamas, and she has a community here in the Boulder area. So I'm just really excited because the lineup is just starting to be really sweet, and I want to be able to bring forth even more for you through this podcast. So, I could talk all day long, but truthfully, I think there's so many people have so much to offer, and I just want to be able to share all the wisdom of all the wonderful women in my life and those that I've yet to meet. So if you have someone in mind that you think would be a good person for me to interview, or someone you would like to hear me interview on this podcast, please reach out to me and let me know, and make if you have an interest in someone I would love that connection. Or if it's someone you just think would be cool to hear me interview, let me know and I'll do my best to reach out to them and get them on the podcast. So just know that I'm bringing more and more juiciness to life here for you, and I'm just excited to play this way with you guys. I expect all this will be heading off in January, we'll go from there. Just keep me in the loop as to how you're enjoying it and what you like best about it. You can send me a personal email. You can rate and review the podcast itself. I read all of that stuff, and I really, really appreciate the feedback so that I can be sure that I'm serving you in the right way. Okay, so all of that aside, this conversation is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be speaking to you entrepreneurs. I know so many women who are running their own business, often as a one-man show, and I just want you to listen up here. I've really been learning a lot about growing a team and running a business, and one of the things that I'm really good at is playing by myself. I do great playing by myself. And what I've been saying for a very long time, it seems, is that I would like to play with other people instead of all by myself. It would just be so much fun to be in collaboration with people who are like-minded and women who are doing big, powerful things in the world. And, I've had a lot of opportunity to do that and have done some of that. But lately, it seems like I've been a one-man show myself, and I'm finding that the bigger my business gets, the harder it is for me to handle everything. I feel almost like I'm drowning sometimes because I look at my emails and I'm like, holy crap, I got to do that, and then I got to follow up with my patients, and then, all these things. So, with that in mind, I had decided that I was going to hire an assistant, and so I did. And then I actually even had an intern come in and start working with me, and I have a bookkeeper, and so I'm growing my team, and these wonderful women have just showed up to help me out. But what I've noticed is that I have been so refusing to hand over the reins to anyone. It's just interesting to watch, because I feel like in some respects, I'm not calling myself a failure in any way, but I feel like I've failed these women in a big way because I haven't been giving them things to do. I have said, I need you to do this, but I've been holding everything next to me and not actually letting them do anything. I haven't been giving them the guidance and the space to create in my practice with me in a way that would be serving them as well as my patients. And so, I've been looking at all of this over the last couple of days, and I've been really like, okay, what am I going to do about this? So I've started handing over the reins and, being a little bit clearer about what my needs are and deciding that I'm going to let people do the work that I've asked them to do, and, setting boundaries and timelines and goals and all those kinds of things I'm finding are so, so important. If I'm sharing this with you because I know as an entrepreneur, as a woman in business, that you have a desire to grow your business. And if you're going to grow your business, you're going to have to at some point hand over the reins in some part of your business. Like, it can't always be a one-man show, or you're always just going to be at that level that will allow you to do that. And I am very clear that I'm on my way to something so much greater, and there's no way that I can handle all of those things on my own. So, and also I want to become a better leader. Like, that's always my goal in life, is to become a better leader, be it with my patients or with my team. And since I've kind of stepped into that role even more, my ladies are just getting things done like crazy. It's so awesome. So I'm so excited and grateful. And I'm, more than anything, they've just been there waiting for me. And it's just fascinating to just sit back and kind of contemplate like how I've been, even though I've been saying, yeah, I want to play with a team of people. And then those team of people show up, but I'm not playing with them. I'm not letting them play with me. So, it's an interesting process. And I'm just sharing that with you because I imagine if you're anything like I am, which you probably are because you're listening in on this, right? I'm curious where you may be withholding in your own life or in your own business. Where is it where you could delegate something out to somebody and have them actually do something for you? I know for a while I was just telling myself the story that, oh, well, I can't really afford the help. And then the stories that you tell yourself proliferate. The stories that you tell yourself come true. So I tell myself, oh, I can't afford to have anyone help me. Then that means that I keep my business small because my business is only going to be as big as I say it's going to be. And if I'm saying I can't afford for anyone to help me, I'm never going to have anything outside of that paradigm. So I've changed that story, and the people show up and the money shows up, and then I just have to let go, right? I have to let them in. I have to let them help. And instead of withholding all this stuff next to my chest, and it feels like, this is my baby, and your business is your baby. And I get it's kind of like, letting your baby go spend the night somewhere, and it's like, wait a minute, I don't know what's going on every minute of the day. And I don't like to think of myself as a micromanager, but maybe I am. And I imagine that there's places in your life and or your business that you could just be delegating and allowing more relaxation in. So today I had this wonderful juicy morning. I got up and I wrapped up some Christmas presents to mail off today. And then I hopped in the sauna, and I was in there for a good 45 minutes, and it's snowing here today. I was so grateful to get up and just see the snow falling this morning. So when I got really hot in the sauna, I ran outside in the snow and just let myself cool off out there just for the briefest of moments, of course. And then I ran back upstairs, and I was about to get back in the sauna, and I thought, oh, I think I'll do some tarot. So I started pulling tarot cards and giving myself a reading. And then when I finished with that, I hopped back into the sauna. I did a Kundalini practice in there. I felt so fantastic. I got out, I went and I took a shower, and then I decided, I'm going to take a bath. So I filled the bath up, and then I from there went on to give myself a facial. I put a mask on, and it's like this whole morning was just ridiculously yummy. And I just want more and more days like that. And I, went to work later in the day. I started seeing patients at 2:00, and here I am doing this podcast for you in the evening. And we all have the ability to manifest days like that for ourselves. But if we're doing all the work, if we're scheduling our patients, ordering supplements, or scheduling your clients, and ordering products from Amazon, and trying to market your own business, and do all the stuff, like every minute of every day is filled up with to-do list, then you get really it's not fun anymore. It's just like, oh my God, droning on. And so I'm just inviting you to just look around and see where you can delegate. Even though I've given some stuff up, I still have it. Like my intern was with me, and she was showing me some stuff she had worked on. And then now that she's done this work, I'm going to need to call my EHR, my electronic health records company, and figure out how to actually work the system. And I said, okay, I guess I'll call him tomorrow. And she's like, well, why don't you have your assistant do that? And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll let her do that. So, it's going to take a little training because I got to show her what to do. But once you show them, like it's on, right? And maybe you have someone in your life that needs a little bit of support. Maybe you could just, do a trade with somebody if you really don't have the funds coming in, and have them do some book work for you while you do a massage for them, or you do an acupuncture treatment for them, or whatever it is you're doing in your world. So another question I have is, how do you hold yourself accountable to taking the action necessary to growing your business? So when we're overwhelmed with all these things that we have to be doing, it sometimes can slip by in the way of growing, of taking those actions that are necessary in growing your business. So do you have a way to hold yourself accountable? I personally have multiple coaches in my life, and I'm so grateful for that. I every single time I talk to any of them, I get off the phone or the video, and I am on cloud 9, jumping up and down. I had one of my friends came over the other day as I was getting off the phone with one of my coaches, and this is my online business coach, and he's just rocked my world. And she walked in the door, and I was like, oh my God, I just have to take this in for just a minute. And I was just like, oh, I just got off the phone. Oh my God, I'm so excited, and I'm sure she was just like, okay. Because, when people aren't doing their own business and doing this kind of stuff, they don't really understand like what it means to have someone just like really be there for you, cheering you on, giving you your next step, like really doing that kind of thing. So that's how I hold myself accountable. I also have friends that are in business for themselves that I speak to on a regular basis about business. Like it's what we do. We schedule appointments to meet so that we can talk out what we've done over the last week or two and where we plan on going. I just got off the phone with one of my girlfriends. She's a chiropractor in Boulder, and she's one of the ones I'm going to interview pretty soon with it. She has the Holistic Mamas Network. Oh, check it out. It's on Facebook. I'll put a link to it actually in the show notes. And yeah, she's like doing her like end of year review and planning her year for next year. And I'm like, yes. So that totally inspired me, right? I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that. Yeah. So, so get a friend and just have them talk through where you're going with your business. And then even more importantly, I believe, is how can you allow your growth to be based in the feminine? How can you allow your growth to be based in the feminine? So business tends to be a very masculine project, undertaking. And we women entrepreneurs can tend to lean in the masculine a whole lot. I actually was working with a woman the other day, and she runs her own business, and that subject came to the table because it's easy to get stuck in. It's so easy to get stuck in the do, go, make it happen, push, and forget that our nature is being in the feminine. We are receptors. We are creators. We are. We have a womb space that we birth things from. But if we're constantly pushing, then we're not allowing ourselves to receive. The masculine is great because it gets things done. But it leads to unfulfillment if we're not really connecting with our feminine and allowing our feminine to guide us through that process. It's so important to honor our nature as passionate creators on this planet. And, if we just even think about the physicality of being a woman, we birth things through our vagina, right? Through our yoni. It's like we have this center, our lower chakras, our root, our second, and these two chakras are all about creation and receptivity and stillness and patience and birthing what it is we come into the world to do. If we're running around ejaculating or shooting off all the time, and go, then you're not honoring the creative, and the flow wants to move through you. It wants to move through your pelvis. It wants to move through your center of passion, which is in your pelvis. It wants you to birth things from that place. 2 of the tarot cards that I pulled today one was the Hierophant and one was the Emperor, and they both had one finger pointing up towards the heavens and one finger pointing down towards the earth. It's like connect into spirit so that you can manifest down here on earth. Stay connected to source so that you can bring in this thing that you're birthing into the world. And we're all doing that. Your body is a creative expression of spirit, and everything that you create in this world is a creative expression of spirit. But if we're beating our head because we're just like, I gotta get this done, the computer's not fast enough, oh my gosh, this isn't working, okay, I gotta go, I can't sleep tonight because I gotta get this ad written, and I gotta write out these this content tomorrow, and I don't know how I'm going to do it because I don't have enough time because I have all this stuff to do, without taking the moment in the morning, even if it's 5 minutes, to close your eyes and take 5 deep belly breaths and connect into your pelvis, your yoni, like your fire in your belly, and ask what wants to come through today, and be present for the answer, and allow yourself to, everything that you do, be an expression of divine grace. That everything that you offer up in your world, in your work, is for the greater good. And when we set that intention in the morning, and we go through each meeting, each client, each patient, each interaction that we have in our mind's eye before it all begins, and we set the tone, we set the pace, we set the desired outcome in our mind's eye, your day and your work is going to go so much smoother. And when you live intentionally, guess what you get? You get an intentional practice. You get an intentional life. When you set an intention for your business every day, you're going to be so much closer to manifesting that stuff, as opposed to staying stuck in the, oh no, what if I can't? Oh no, what if I can't run my business from a long distance? Oh no, what if I get stuck in this ebb and my flow doesn't come back and I don't get any more clients? And these are things that I actually hear from people in industry for themselves, the entrepreneurial women who are living from a strong fear base that causes them to shift into their masculine because the masculine gets things done. But what we forget is that isn't what creates. What creates from grace is the connectivity to spirit, to our higher self, to our passion, to our innate wisdom, to the greatness that creates through us, and allowing ourselves to be a receiver of that wisdom, and then allowing ourselves to be the one who takes action to create that from that place of beauty, feminine grace. So it is time, ladies, to go move your body. How is it that you get into your feminine? So many people I speak to have been programmed as children that it's not okay to be a girl. That, oh, my dad really wanted a boy and I was a girl. Like, I've heard that so many times, and don't think that doesn't have an impact. Don't think that the world we grew up in that was very male dominated has an impact. You know, being one of the subconscious beliefs that I pull out of almost every single woman I work with on this level is being a woman. It goes a different way. It goes a couple of different ways. Being a woman is useless. Being a woman is weak. Those are two primary. They just show up. And if you are trying to grow your own business with those underlying programs and those underlying belief systems that you're weak and useless, guess what? Your business is an expression of you. Your business is gonna be weak and useless from your perspective. So that's what you're gonna create. And you don't have to do that. You do not have to do that. Get clear about it. You know, maybe one of the things you want to do is sit down with your journal and ask your higher self to bring forth the subconscious beliefs that are keeping you stuck in your business. Ask your higher self to bring forth the subconscious beliefs that are keeping you out of connectivity to your feminine. And when you start to explore that, you are going to find some really crazy things that come out of that. And I just invite you to do that, because once you start to realize it on a conscious level, that's when you can begin to shift it. That's when you can create another way of being in the world. So yes, stand on up, go put some music on, move your hips, dance a little jig, do something to get into your pelvis, to turn yourself on, to really enjoy being in a woman's body, even if you don't know what that means. Imagine what it would feel like. Just go in your bedroom by yourself when no one is at home and do it, and turn on some music. Go to a yoga class, a Kundalini class specifically, and really feel what it feels like to turn on your lower chakras. Like when you start to breathe through your yoni, you start to feel so much more alive than ever. And these are just different practices that you can employ any time of any day. So go have fun with it, my friends. I love you all. Have a blessed and merry holiday season, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you for tuning in to another awesome episode of Turn Your Soul On Radio. If you're enjoying the show and it's making a difference in your life, I'd be super grateful if you'd head on over to iTunes and leave a heartfelt review, which tremendously helps the growth of the show. Feel free to leave any suggestions or questions in your review, or you can shoot us an email at admin@drbrandyvictory.com. I also would like to invite you to become a deeper part of the Turn Your Soul On Radio community, which you can do by joining our private Facebook group, Turn Your Soul On. I'll leave a link in the show notes for you. Thank you so much for being here today, and I'll talk to you next time. Have a fantastic day.
This podcast is for information purposes only. Dr. Brandy Victory is not a medical doctor, and the views and statements expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Dr. Brandy Victory and the producers, disclaim responsibility from any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.